There are over 100,000 people who immigrate to New Zealand every year with the intention to make New Zealand their home, leaving behind everything they know as normal day-to-day life and having to learn new ways of doing things, new norms, new cultures, and different values. There are many people who struggle with this transition and find it challenging to adjust and settle, so they can call and make New Zealand their home. The purpose of this podcast is for me to share my journey and our challenges with the hope that you can learn from me and my family and have a softer landing. There will be good days and bad days, but with time, more good days. I believe we have made the right choice for our family. I want to try and help you do the same, but hopefully with a softer landing. This is Soft Landing, and I am your host, Brett Corlett.
Welcome to this podcast, designed for anyone thinking about preparing for or who has just immigrated to New Zealand. Subscribe now so you never miss an episode. Drawing from his personal experience, this series will guide you through the process of preparing for your move and helping you navigate the challenges of immigration.
Hey, welcome back. So today we're going to continue with our money and migration series with Ivandee Fitchet from Migrant Financial Services. But today what we're going to talk about is mortgages and how do we even work towards buying that first home so we can actually plant roots here in New Zealand. So I know that's a big one for me, still something that's on my bucket list to be able to do. I'm still trying to get that home so that we feel like we've really planted roots here in New Zealand. So I'm eager to get into this one with her and figure out how and what we need to do to make sure we can get that mortgage and buy that home. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ivandee. Hey, Ivandee, thanks for joining us again. Really excited to chat again. And this time we're going to talk all about mortgages. So I cannot wait. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, good. Thank you. And this is by far the highlight of my job is helping immigrants into their first home. So very excited for this one.
Oh, awesome. Well, I can tell you just as excited because I think always at the back of my mind, one of the big things for me, and I haven't been able to do it yet, and it's still on the radar, and it's something that we're going to work towards. So you're helping me with it. It is, I feel like, yeah, we're settling, we're starting to have New Zealand feel like home, but I think it's only really going to feel like home when I can buy that home. You know, I've got my own place that I can go hang a picture by knocking a nail in the wall and not be told by the landlord you're not allowed to do that or whatever else. You know, well, I want to paint this wall bright pink because I just can. It's my wall. So I cannot wait for the day we can buy our own home and it's ours. It's really, then I think it's going to really make New Zealand feel like home.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you. It's definitely something we're excited about. So talking about mortgages today is to try work out, okay, well, how do we make this a reality? Because I hear it so much on so many socials that I'm on and a lot of people that chat to me. It's very much doom and gloom. And I know some people are very negative at the moment just because the economy is tough at the moment. And it's not just New Zealand, it's worldwide. So a lot of people are like, oh, you moved to New Zealand, you're never going to be able to buy a home. It's so expensive here. Homes are so expensive. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm hoping you're going to put our minds at ease here that there is a possibility and we can actually make this happen. So maybe talk us starting there. What is the first step that immigrants have to do to working towards eventually being able to buy a home? Where do we start?
So I think going back to the KiwiSaver video, that's generally a good starting point for us, or even just before that on the investment side, if we can see how much you're bringing over. If you don't have surplus money, that's okay. KiwiSaver is there to help you, give you that 3-year plan. We find typically most immigrants that aren't bringing cash over, it is a 3 to 5 year plan to get deposit ready for a home. But I think one of the biggest things is, and I cannot stress this enough, we've touched on it on previous videos, do not get in debt when you get here. It is so crucial, not just for your relationship with the bank, but for your budgets and to be in a position to put rather that money aside towards your house deposit than on a car that no one cares what you're driving.
Okay. So that's already helping. Maybe it's really making me think is what are the things we should start looking at that to make us look positive? You've already said, watch the debt. So it's buying that car. Don't go straight off in what I call a hire purchase or buying a car and loan or whatever else. Unless I know some people have to, you know, they just don't have that outright. But then don't go buy, I don't know, $100,000 car or something like that. Buy what's fit for purpose or something like that. So you really got to look at keeping debt free. But I do know some people will have some real reasons why they had to do it, but that's a positive that they're looking at. But what are some of the unique challenges that us as immigrants potentially face when we've landed here and we're working towards buying that home? What are some of the challenges we encounter? Can you talk us through those in your experience?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest challenge is definitely saving up for your deposit. But right in the beginning, in the budget stage, do you remember we did two budgets, one with the one income initially and then one with the second income, right?
Yes.
When I add the second income, 9 out of 10 times, there's money in there for us to put aside for your house deposit, excluding KiwiSaver.
Yeah.
So if you are determined to get there, you'll put that money aside. And I normally make it a 3-year plan because I think that's realistic. Not from a KiwiSaver point of view. We're now talking work visa, waiting for residency. We've got a 3-year gap. We can actually start putting money aside. That means your goal has moved from 6 years to 3 years.
Yeah.
In effect, because the minute you get residency, you can buy your home. There's one exception to that rule, though. I think I should just explain this. So we do obviously have clients coming in straight to residency. Certain jobs that they skip the work visa part. In that instance, you cannot buy a house as soon as you land as a resident. You have to be on New Zealand soil as a resident for 1 year before you can buy property. But if you're on a work visa following the steps going to residency, then
that year is up
straight
to whatever else.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So So now what I'm trying to think is you said it's the deposit and it's working towards the deposit. Now I know you can't give us financial advice as per se on the video or on the recording, and it's all specific to everyone, but it's the question that's burning on the back of my mind is how much deposit do I have to do here? And I guess it's all relative to the house that you have to buy. But what if we had to just talk percentages? Can you do that and tell us, well, generally they say you have to have a 20% deposit. Is that kind of what it is? So you kind of work at whatever house you're looking at buying, and you can go and on real estate and have a look and get an idea, but then you're going to need about 20%. So that's your goal of working towards, just so people get an idea. How much money are we talking here?
Sure. So no, 20%, there is still a huge misconception that you have to have 20%. That's not true. You can buy a house with a 10% deposit. There's a few differences as to 10 and 20. One, the biggest difference being the difference in interest rates between 10% and 20. You will pay higher interest rates with the 10%, but it's not double. It's a little bit higher, and I won't be able to give exact numbers, but that's a one-on-one conversation. But it's not. It's not unmanageable, right? There is one bank that allows 5% deposit. But I'm a bit mindful of that because that particular product is 1.2% on top of the highest interest rate. So I'm usually a bit cautious, encouraging clients to do that. I think one, you need the budget to be able to do it and pay those extra rates. But there are clients, they're just so desperate to get in. And if, we'll run the numbers if you feel that that's a route you want to go. Personally, I would recommend wait until you can get to the 10, and then you're not saddled up with such a high interest rate, but it is possible.
Oh, look, what I'm hearing is there's options. So there's options that are available to you. And what I'm hearing is it's not a hard, fast rule that you have to have your 20% deposit, which is a good thing to know as well. And I know in the previous episode that we recorded around the KiwiSaver, you've already told us how we can even draw on that KiwiSaver. So to get to that plus minus 10% deposit, talking timelines and everything you've spoken us through with budgets, it can be doable. I think another one that and I'm talking from personal experience, that can be a challenge. Yes, things can happen in the first 3 years of you being here. You don't have a control over everything. But one of the things you do have control over, and that's hard, maybe it's just me, is you want to drive that new car. And the minute you are earning, you want to spend that bit more. Whether it be, we want to go get a motorhome, or want to get a jet ski or whatever else. It's to be that responsible person to hold back and say, we can't do that now. And I think it's also hard when you midway through your life and you come from a country where you had all that stuff. Now you have to adjust and realize you're starting over again. You've got to take that step back. You just have to for the right reasons of buying a home. It's the responsible thing to do. Not always the fun thing, but it's the responsible thing to do. So I think that can be challenging. And I know that's a hard one for me, and maybe Yeah. I'm just too materialistic and I like the fun stuff. So it can be hard.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also leading to your next one. So you've cleared up a lot of things that I wanted to understand, but what about hidden costs? Are there any other hidden costs that come up with buying a house?
No, I wouldn't say hidden. So with that 10% deposit, or basically anything under 20%,
Yeah.
there's one hard rule with all the lenders, and that is that you have to get a registered valuation done on every home that you're interested in. So that is a physical person going out to inspect the property, and the report goes back to the bank. That's going to set you back about $1,000.
But in the bigger scheme of things, I mean,
yeah.
I know $1,000 if you convert it in some currencies, it's a lot of money. But if you look at the price of a house and what you're spending and your deposits and everything like that, so it's not the end of Could you work that into the loan, or does it come out of the deposit port? It comes out the deposit port.
It's got to be paid up front, but the banks do give you a cashback for being a first-time home buyer to say thank you for your business. It's a percentage of your lending, how much you've lent from them, and it capped at about $5,000. So that's you get back more than enough to cover these extra expenses. The other expense would be very common with South Africans. We love the plaster homes in New Zealand because I think it reminds us a lot of our houses back home. But the banks are a little bit precious about plaster homes here because of the leaky home problem that New Zealand's had. So for a plaster home over and above the registered valuation, they're going to want a weather tightness report.
Oh, wow.
Bank or not, I would recommend it regardless, because you definitely don't want to be saddled up with a home that's a leaky home. That's hundreds of thousands to repair if you can, and you'll never be able to sell that property. So it's a good thing. There's no transfer duty in New Zealand, which is quite refreshing.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And then your only other costs would be your solicitor, your conveyancer, like we knew them back home. And they pretty much stock standard with their charge. It's around $2,500 for their services. So I think that the cashback that you'll get from the bank is sufficient to cover your solicitor, your RV, and possibly moving if you're going to get movers in or something to help you with that. For us as an advisor to help you, we actually get paid by the bank, and it's not worked into your mortgage in any way. Our commission is separate.
Geez, I'm learning a lot of things today. I had no idea about the transfer fees, that it's not a thing here. I didn't even know you got cash back to, as a thank you for doing business with them. I'm just like, that's unheard of. So already hearing about a lot of these things, it's showing it's positive. You can work towards this. Absolutely. It does take a lot of diligence and being, responsible, which can be tough for some. Discipline, there's the right word. So that's really what you got to be. But that's why you meet with somebody like you, and hopefully you can kick our butts and make sure we're staying on track. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility and our accountability. But that makes sense. One more question that I got to ask. So I'm going to pretend I know what this is about, but I actually looked this up. There's words thrown out there, and I'm reading it off my sheet here about a fixed or a floating or a split rate loans. What the heck is all of this?
So in New Zealand, you have a choice to fix your lending over between 6 months and 5 years. So different interest rates, 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, et cetera. So say, for instance, your mortgage is $500,000. You don't have to put the whole $500,000 on the same term. You can split it over different terms. So say $250 on 1 year, $250 on 2 years. The reason it's done is just to mitigate the risk a little. So that should there be a massive change in the economy, it's not your entire $500,000 that's going to get knocked. It's only a portion of it. Floating rate, that is designed for people that are likely to come into some lump sum money, and you can pay down any amount on that floating rate without any penalty from the bank. So say there's 200,000 on floating, you've got inheritance of 150K, you can whack that 150 into the floating and the bank's not going to charge you any penalties for that. So that's what that means. But depending on when you're buying, etc., that's part of our advice piece. We sit with you at that time and see what is the best structure for you and your financial plan.
Okay. Well, I think you nailed it already. You'd sit down with us and you'd look at our unique scenarios and see what's the best plan for us. So that makes a lot of sense. Another question for us immigrants: is there anything, I don't know, tips, tricks, anything we should be doing to improve our chances of getting a mortgage, or not only getting a mortgage, but maybe getting a good rate or anything like that? Anything that you recommend we do in prep for when we finally apply for that mortgage?
The biggest thing would be staying out of debt. That's number one. I usually encourage clients, if it's husband and wife, maybe one of you being with a different lender, so that we have two lenders to approach when we do your mortgage, and do something like say, for instance, if you with ANZ, do your check account with ANZ and have a savings account with them as well, so that you can build your relationship with your bank, and your wife, same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I didn't even think about that.
One. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, because I know we actually both, because when you first come across, everybody just recommends one bank, and because there's so much going on in that first week or two of landing here, you just go into the same bank and you just sign up with the same bank. And some of them, you even, while you're still in your home country, you're signing up with that bank, and you end up staying with the same bank. So it is a good point in trying to do that. So no, that makes sense.
Gives us more flexibility to approach other banks, and each there's certain banks that have better products. So say for instance you really want a new build, then there's one particular bank that we're going to approach for that type of product. So that's usually why I say, let's split who you bank with, so that we've got the best of both worlds, whether it be a new build or an existing home. We can approach both banks then to see how they can help you.
No, cool. Thanks, Ivandee. So look, I've learned a lot today about mortgages and all the rest of it, and I know it's still the path I'm on, and I'm not quite there yet to be able to buy that home, and I cannot wait until we can. And I'm confident it is going to happen. We've only been here 3 years, so we've given ourselves a bit of a timeline of around about 5 years before we'll be able to do it. But hey, we'll still be able to do it, and we're going to get that home. So we're definitely working towards it. So maybe it's to ask that question that I love asking to wrap it up, is if there's one thing that the listeners just needed to hear today that you wanted them to take home, what is the one thing that you wanted them to hear? If they heard nothing else today, just that one thing, what is it?
It's not that unachievable. And the one thing I'd like people to take away is, don't leave it until number 99, where you want to buy a house in the next 3 months. Have these conversations super early. I don't mind if people reach out to me 2-3 years before they actually want to start, planning and heading that way. It's really good to know where you are now and where you need to be in 2 years or 3 years. And if it is achievable for us to actually bring that goal a little bit forward for you, let's have these conversations super early. I think it gives people something to look forward to as well, that it is actually not that out of reach. A little bit of planning and we can get you there really quickly.
No, thanks, Ivandee. I love that. And I'm a firm believer, if you don't have a plan and have a goal, you're never going to get there. You've got to have the end state in mind, and then you work backwards from there and work a plan towards getting there. And then it's also checking in regularly to make sure, well, are you on track? Because life happens, things change. So you pivot as you need to, but it's to have that original or that first goal in mind and that plan in mind. So thanks, Ivandee. Oh, I love this. I really, really love it. So look, I know I'm working with you, so I know we're going to buy a home one day. So I really appreciate you giving the time so we could share a little bit with everybody else as well. So that it can hopefully, if anything, give just a little bit of hope that as much as you move here and it can be challenging and whatever else, and the rest of the world and the economy and whatever else, you still can buy a home. It is possible. Okay, just take some work.
The banks have, they've definitely made, or the Reserve Bank's definitely made it a little bit easier for us. Doing things like new builds, where they 10% is absolutely fine. Because they're trying to encourage people to buy new build homes as opposed to existing homes. That in itself, I've seen a lot of clients, oh my gosh, one would love to live in a new build and you only need 10%.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, absolutely.
No, awesome. No, this is great. Thank you, Ivandee. I really appreciate your time once again. So it's really been awesome chatting to you and going through what mortgages are all about. I know we've got one more series in the one more episode, in the series left, which is going to be the next one that we're going to do, which is going to be all around retirement. So that's really going to be now thinking, okay, longer term and all the rest of it. So that I'm not going to to be that burden on my child. So I'm looking forward to that one. So thank you, Ivandee. Thanks for your time today.
You're welcome. Cool. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, keep well. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.